Howdy, I'm Matt, and I'm not a traitor, honest governor. In this box, I got something slightly different to what you've seen here, as overall like the norm in case. Now, there is a little bit of a story behind this, so some of you might complain that we're going to have a bit of a chit-chat before we get to the unboxing. But let's get a little bit closer. I will be wandering over there in just a second to get my coffee, so I suggest you do the same too. And the story is that Mike over at Hobby RC is that he had a Maytech F722 board available, a spare one, with the wing PDB, which was what I was after a couple of weeks ago. But he said he only had one left, and it wasn't actually on the site. It was meant for, I think it was meant for a personal project. Anyway, he sent me that one and the wing PDBs, which we've already seen here in an RC Mail episode. And the thing is that then said, look, I'll take two wing boards and let me know when you got the other ones in. And I was away on holiday and Mike had messaged, and oh Matt, the Maytech F722 boards are in. Do you want to go and grab one? And well, to be honest, I frankly forgot it, and I'm going to go and grab me a coffee from over here. Like I said, I frankly forgot about it until I got home, started working with the emails and stuff, and then saw the email from Mike. And anyway, I was on the Hobby RC site, as you do, and I'm thinking, well, I've got the Maytech F722 board, which are really good boards, by the way. I've got that not only in the Nano Talon, which is over there on my main desk, but I've also here on the workbench, I've got it in the, not the Butcher's block, I've got it in the Free Wing model. And you'll see it's in there, and it's not using the wing PDB, it's using the quadcopter PDB. When I bought that from DroneBit, from Matt over there, or the two Matts at least, and I bought that over there, and that was great, and to the point that I wanted more, but I also wanted to try out, let's not mention that one, I'll put that down there, it needs to be slightly repaired, and anyway, but I wanted the wing PDB, so that's how I got into contact with Hobby RC, because they were the only ones which had that in the UK at the time. So anyway, I was shopping on the site, found the F722 board, and I was thinking, well, I'm going to pay a couple of quid for postage. What else have they got on their website? And I don't know why I did it. I really don't. I had a moment of insanity. And I looked in the ready-to-fly category on the Hobby RC site, and I saw the Babyhawk quadcopter, the 3-inch, and I think it was the 2-inch version as well. And then it clicked, like all things like came together, which is that I remember watching a video from CurryKitten, Wayne, and he absolutely loved his little Baby R model. So that's hopefully what we've got here in this bag, is that not only have we got a Maytech F722 board, which we'll have a very, very quick look at, I hasten to add, because I have covered it a couple of times before, but we'll also take a look at this little quadcopter as well. So it's definitely going to be on the small side, and to give you a heads up, I ordered this yesterday and it's arrived the day after, so thumbs up for Hobby RC and DPD. I also ordered some batteries from the Hobby King website. I got a text message yesterday afternoon saying your order from Hobby King, and this was Parcel Force messaging me, was being sent via Express 24, and it would be with you by the 7th of the 8th. Now it's the 7th of the 8th today, and it's still in their sorting hub. So Matt, being a little bit annoyed, I've contacted, not Hobby King, let's not rattle that cage again, I've contacted Parcel Force asking, and again I think it's a valid question, asking them were they going to be refunding me for not delivering for the service which I paid for as a consumer, and some other words to that effect. So that should be a very fun reply which I get from Parcel Force in the next couple of days, because I'm frankly really disappointed. It's the first issue which I've had from Parcel Force in my memory. I think I can't remember the last time I had an issue with Parcel Force, so it's very unlike them for not doing it. But still, I paid for 24-hour delivery. It was in their network. It got sorted, but it's not left their sorting hub to come down to the Bristol hub. So that's very frustrating. So anyway, I will now move on and take a look at that. So yeah, was it facetious? I think is the word, or just being a COCK, but I think I'm rightfully being a COCK because I don't think it's really on, to be honest. If you say it's 24, you message your customers can be 24, etc, etc. Now I do need to go a little bit careful because there is a receipt in there, so I'm just going to get that out of the way and pop it on one side. And oh Jesus, this thing's going to be tiny. Sealed packet, all the way around. That's absolutely tiny. Look at the size of my hand. When they say it's the Babyhawk, I knew it was going to be a small little quad, and that's exactly what I wanted. Something a little bit raspy, but could have a bit of flight time with it. And so we'll take a look at that in a moment. Now, we've got the Maytech F722 board. In fact, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one, other than to say that I think I found a really, really good board. I think they're really, really good. I genuinely mean that they're really good. Remember, I bought this and the previous ones all out of my own money for my own abuses. I'm sure many of you have heard this, just me say this before. The same for the Babyhawk-R, bought out of my own money for my own abuse. So yeah, it's always, I think it's always a good sign when you see me go back and buying something again. And there's me buying the F722 board again. I think that'll be now be 1, 2. This is the third one I've got, so this will be going into a model shortly with the spare wing PDB, which I bought, which we were chatting about earlier. We've also got some funky stickers. Obviously, they're kind of funky. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not really into stickers, but they look pretty cool. So yeah, we'll stuff those on a model shortly. Looks like we've got some sweeties in the box too, so that's happy days. And I was a little bit worried that whether this was just going to be packaged up with a bit of bubble wrap or something around it, because these boards are a little bit delicate to a certain degree, and that was not the case at all. It was in a nice little box, bit of paper in there, happy days. And also some Hobby RC candy, which, to be honest, I didn't tell the kids about that last time, and I'm kind of at it, so I might have to break that one in half and share it between the two of them, but let's not tell them that. Right, anyway, getting on to the topic here. Don't panic. Don't panic. We won't be turning this into a dirty drone channel. You know that's me taking the piss, don't you? You really do. It's not. I just saw it because I was interested in it. It was getting like putting two and two together, and I saw Wayne chatting about it on CurryKitten, saying he thought it was really, really good. And just a heads up, I had this on my phone just a minute ago, and I paid £120.90 for it, which I knowingly knew that it cost more than other online sites. I'm going to go, let's be fair, it's Hobby, I see, let's not mention the other ones, which I knowingly knew it was more expensive. But the thing is that I knew that I could get this next day, and this is next day. And it's here, it's been turned up, it's a sealed box, it's exactly what I could have bought from somewhere else. But it's literally turned up on my door next day, and sometimes it's worth paying that. I think it was about £10 extra, £10 for convenience. To be honest, half the time convenience always wins. To give you a quick rundown on here, this has a F3 mini Magnum tower in there. It's got the RS1106, so they're going to be tiny little motors on there. I think they're 4,000 something kV motors, I think that's right. I'm looking on there, it's got a built-in 12 amp BHLE ESCs, 3 to 4S, and again I've bought 3S battery packs for this, but I've also got some little 4Ss which I can use here, some 850s on there as well. Yeah, it's 6,000 kV brushless motors. Paired with the new Avan 2-inch quad blade propeller for maximum speed and control. It does come with a inbuilt camera. Now it says it's a CCD camera, which genuinely indicates it's a better quality, better light handling. Now that's always horses for courses. If you think about the RunCam cameras, is that the majority of their cameras are CMOS, and they've done really, really good stuff with CMOS cameras. But on the cheaper ones, you are definitely looking for CCD, because cheap CMOS cameras are terrible. So cheap CCD ones are generally a lot better than the cheap CMOS ones. So I hope that kind of makes sense. And we could chat about them all day long, but to be honest, let's just get in here and have a quick nose and see what we got in the box. So these are tri-blade. Now I did say it was a 3-inch. I don't really know for the dimensions. Extremely well packaged. You've got to give it its due here. And I'll tell you what, why don't we zoom in and we'll take a closer look together. So we've got plenty of propellers in here by the looks of it. Yes, we've got a full stack. So that's a nice thing. I was a little bit worried whether we were going to have spare props or not. We've got 4 there, so it looks like we've got a whole set of spare propellers. That's happy days going in there. I also know that we've got an OSD board, and that's for changing the OSD on the camera to your own liking. Well, it'll be a little plug. There's a tiny little plug on there. and that's nice and straightforward. So some washers, and there's a JST battery connector on there. Now I hopefully this one's got whatchamacallit, an XT30 on the bottom, because that's what I've been in ordered for the batteries, which I've been in ordered. I've gone for XT30s. Let's have a quick slurp of the black gold a second. And there's some washers in there. Again, I presume it's all oh, it's a Fox-Ear camera. That's always a good thing. I know many of you out there really do rate the Fox-Ear cameras. Personally, this is now the first Fox-Ear camera which I've owned, so I hope it's going to be pretty good. There's a whole collection of bolts in there. That's nice. And I've just been and spotted the XT30 connector. Let's open this up. These motors are absolutely tiny in here. Wow. There's me taking a look at it. There's the side profile. I tell you what I'm going to do, I'm just going to rotate this very slowly. So there's those 6000 kV, the RS 1106 on there. So those should be the Emax ones. Yeah, Emax. I'm really impressed with the bigger red bottom motors, to say the least. Look at that tiny little stack in there, if it ever focuses. So there's our stack. So it looks like we've got receiver, video transmitter, flight controller. So you've got probably ESC stack, flight controller stack, and then video transmitter stack. And look, on the very top of there we can see that board going across there. That will be our receiver. So this is a FR Sky compatible, which is happy days. I'm not really going to be flying it that far anyway. If I do run into any range issues, I'll just swap that for one of those little XM or XM Plus receivers. Nice job. And again, you can understand why Mr. Wayne from CurryKittens liked this model, because they have gone to the extra lengths of soldering on the electrolytic capacitor onto the board, which saves with sag. Battery lead is whatever, it will bend around enough. Taking a look at the camera, let's be fair here, I remember Wayne, or CurryKitten, talking about this. He thought that he needed a little bit more camera angle pointing upwards. I've got to be honest with you, I think I probably need a lot less. I'm quite a noob when it comes to multi-rotors. I really am. A nice little clear lens on there. Again, just looking, it looks like a quality camera, which is in there. And there's me just chatting about this, and you're not really seeing this. So let me zoom in. So as you can see, look, it looks like a quality camera. You can see the sheen on the lens itself. So I'm going to put the little cap back on there. I'm guessing that those little bolts and stuff, the things which we had in the bag, the little bolts, is that we'll need to use those to put the propellers on. What else have we got in here then? So I'm just going to put this down and zoom out a bit so you can see what's going on. Right, so what else have we got? We've got the propellers, that's nice and straightforward. We got the Fox-Ear camera, instructions, oh that would be helpful for the OSD, that's happy days. And then we've got the Babyhawk race manual. Nice little English instructions on there. Yeah, we're going to get it fired up. I need to go and find the Emax receiver. The bind is a button on the side. That's good to know. So we're going to have to take this cover off. I do like, as much as it could be a bit of a faff, I do like the idea of a cover. I've got no idea how that's. Oh, that's not coming off anytime soon. Those two screws look like they go all the way up into that plastic piece at the back. So in fact, binding it is going to be a bit of a bind. There's some irony for you. And we got the video transmitter, which is just a little whip hanging out the back. That's happy days. I will need to see how we can change the channel on that. Yeah, what bands do they do? They do F and they do R. So that's it for me. I'm really happy about that. I'll put that up on the screen so you can kind of see what the channel, well, I'll just read them out. They do F, R, A, B and E. So that's all the bases basically covered for that. It is a 200, it's a 25 to 200 milliwatt adjustable frequency 40 channel VTX. So I probably need to go and read this on here on how I can get into the menu. And there is all this little menu diagram just there, because obviously I need to stay legal, and I would never ever think about cranking that up to 200 milliwatts at all and sticking it on a channel R1. I would never do anything like that because we have to stay legal here within the UK. etc, etc. But it's nice to see they've got a menu there if you weren't in the UK, for example, and you had other frequencies which were available to you. And on the back is pure Chinesium. So anyway, first impressions. What was it? What's this one called? Babyhawk-R. Thoroughly down to our mate CurryKitten for saying it was so good. And like I said, I was on the Hobby RC site having a bit of a nose. And it looked pretty cool. I'm actually kind of shocked how small this thing is. I really am. It was 120 quid, and to be honest, it feels like 120 quid's worth. Does that make sense? I can't give you a better review than that, to be honest, because quads aren't my thing. But what I can tell you, those little arms are really, really stiff. It's got Emax red bottom motors on it. That's a happy days. It's got a full little stack in there. 200 milliwatt video transmitter, FR Sky compatible board on the top. Like I said, if it doesn't work out well for me, then I'll just swap it over for an XM or XM Plus on the top. And yeah, all straightforward. And they've even left you a fighting chance of getting the USB socket in there so we can connect it up to the pooter and see what's on there. I've got a sneaky suspicion there's some beta flight software on there. Happy days. I will need to connect that up to the computer so I can get my ARM switch on there and just make sure my transmitter is set up for it, etc, etc. But yeah, happy days. Happy days. It is exactly what I was expecting. So what I'm going to go and do, I'm going to have a look through that bag, get some of these props on the top. Well, obviously I'll go over to the computer now, go and connect it up and see what we got on there. And yeah, I'm kind of impressed. It's a hand, well, I'll tell you what, let's go from, I think it's fair to do it propeller to propeller, isn't it? So it's about 5.5 inches from the centre of one prop to another. If we do right out to the outside, it's about a 6-inch diagonally across quad, maybe 4.5 over there. And yeah, it's better, to be honest. I'm actually quite impressed by the. It's the first time I've bought like a bind and fly kit like this, which it really is just bind and fly. Because all I need to do is put some propellers on it and change some modes, which I would have done anyway for it. So yeah, I'm quite impressed. It feels like a good little frame. It's stiff. The arms aren't going to fall off in 2 minutes time. I will just whip round all the screws just to make sure they're done up. And I can't wait to go out and take and fly it. So there you go. That's the Babyhawk-R. I think it's from Emax. And I'm genuinely impressed. Oh, and we had a flight controller as well, which we've mentioned many times before. That's the Maytech F722. Really good. That's the third one, which I've been and bought now. That's how much I think of them. So there we go. If you have any questions about the Babyhawk-R, best person to ask isn't me. What I'm going to do at the end of this video, I'll put an insert to Wayne's video, and he does it in way much more detail than me. And it's like I said a couple of times already, it was his fault. I bought this one. I've only bought this for like mucking around in the back garden, and I think it's going to be extremely suitable for doing just that. So I'm very chuffed. And by the way, just to stress, I'm still very, very much love wings, to say the least, and fixed wing models, so don't panic if you're thinking, oh, Matt's gone to the dark side. He's not. He just saw something which he was quite impressed by, and now it's been turned up. I am still genuinely impressed by. So anyway, I'm off. I'm going to go across to that desk and change the modes on it and make sure it's bound and everything, and sort out the video transmitter and the channels which I want it on. But first impressions from taking it out of the box and having a look, I like that it's come with a second set of props. It's got clear English instructions which have come in there, and it does use a bit of quality, to say the least, on that. It's definitely obvious. It's 120 quid's worth, and it shows that it's 120 quid's worth. I've had cheaper models, little quads here, and they look like they're cheap. This does not look like it's cheap. So anyway, if you have any questions about this one, go and see Wayne's video. Like I said, I'll put it in the end. And of course, if you want to ask me any questions about it, please ask in the comment section under this video. I'll try and do my best, but remember, multi-rotors really aren't my thing. I've just bought this to muck around, like I said, muck around in the garden and hit trees and bushes with, and maybe, just maybe, terrorise the cats. Anyway, I'm off. From myself, Matt, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you again shortly. As always, cheerios!